Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force, and we're here to wrap up the week of insanity that's been the Platt Prophet run here. And it feels like a shame to cut it short so soon, but we'll go out with a bang here. And, just before we do, if you enjoy the channel, if you feel like you might want to support me a bit as an artist, what you can do is in the description, there's a link to my Patreon. If you subscribe there, that gives you access to all the Blood Force pages and comics, as well as these videos before they make it to YouTube. Also, if you go over to my Instagram, commissions are now open there. So, let's get back to this thing. This is Prophet number 7. So we're getting back to some proper Platt pencils on this one. He's not inking it himself, I assume as a time-saving thing. I believe that maybe that first issue was the only time we were going to get some Platt pencils and inks. And they realized, oh shit, that takes way too long. We're not doing that again. But he's still going to do the covers by himself. So we get this Conan special here. And Prophet really does seem to turn into like an insane version of Conan. I love everything going on this cover, I gotta say. The moon this is maybe the best ridiculously gigantic moon I've seen. Like, the shading on it is excellent, I gotta say. And again, this is something I might steal in future. Standing atop the pile of bodies, as is tradition. Just massive quads, again, as is tradition. Double lit everywhere. He seems to have cut back a little bit on the vascularity, but not that much, really. That's pretty excellent. I mean, you can do a lot worse than a Conan homage for your cover composition. So, getting into it here, Rob Liefeld is doing the plot on this one by the looks of it, and we got Robert Knapton doing the script. Platt is doing the pencils, and Marlo Alquiza is doing the inks, which, as we saw in the last issue, actually isn't a bad thing, really. When called on, Marlo Alquiza can do a decent job as sort of a Platt fill-in. So this shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so we come back into it, and if we recall what happened in the last couple of issues, Prophet got captured by the Ragnarok facility, which is run by Omen, this guy here. Who we don't really know who he is, other than that he runs the facility. It might have gotten explained in Prophet 2 and 3. I didn't read those because they didn't look interesting at all. So, Prophet escaped from the facility. Omen sends Kirby, who is Prophet's buddy, out to recapture Prophet with 3 disciples who are essentially overt kills. They're, cyborg, henchmen, mercenary guys. Probably not mercenaries, maybe just more, disciples, devotees, that sort of thing. A muscle, essentially. And Prophet was able to disable one and reprogram it. And that's kind of where we stood. That took 2 issues to get through. So now we've got Omen here. And he's having a meeting with Judas. That's the woman here with the thong and the wings. And Judas appears to have come from the future. And she's a member of the Holy Order of Omen, which is, basically the Omen's organization has run roughshod over the world in the future. This is the war that Prophet's supposed to stop, or something, or fight. One of the two. And the Holy Order of Omen has decided to join him because it's easier. And we get, again, more unnecessarily complex panel layouts, I would say. Including a lighter as big as a cigarette package. Alright, sure. But, you see what I mean about Prophet's figure work. It's interesting. I would not call it realistic. It's a little close to J. Scott Campbell in some respects, but I believe this is before J. Scott Campbell is, September 94. No, I mean, he's around, but he's not exactly established himself yet. All right, so basically this is Omen managed to piss Judas off. when she brought up that her mission was to assassinate Prophet, and he's like, yeah, really? Okay. Yeah, and that was a cause for offense. And she was under the impression that he would have Prophet here as a prisoner, which apparently they didn't keep track of the fact in the histories that Prophet actually escaped. So she's going to have to wait until he gets brought back, or he comes back of his own, I suppose. But again, we're going to get some interesting panel stuff going on, where again, it's difficult to actually focus on too much. We do get crossing, 2 panels. This is another panel. So good job there. And all of this, like putting another panel in front of a bunch of speed lines, it does confuse the issue quite a bit. It would make for a good resale couple of pages, though. Not the best for storytelling, though. So, after Pagan leaves, Darkthorn appears. You remember Darkthorn from Youngblood 4 and 5? He did the whole thing where he kind of hypnotized Badrock onto his side, that kind of thing. Looks a bit more interesting here, at least. When you make him, like 20 feet tall, and you just vein him all up, and actually put some interesting shinies on him, all that kind of stuff, put some good lighting on him. That's a fair bit better. And again, we're not really paying attention to the perspective here. Unless this thing is like canted off to the side and this hologram is like diagonal. And he's just like pretending that everything's okay. It's like, oh yeah, no, this is ideal. So Darkthorn needs to get Earth under his control before something. The galaxy is compromised. Compromised? The galaxy is compromised of many forces from all over the universe. Wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here? Prophet is but one threat. The galaxy is compromised of many forces. Period. There it is. It's hidden. From all over the universe, powerful emanations touch my mind and bring warning. Period. An immense disruption is about to come to pass, an intrusion on history, a gathering of powers, and Earth is the nexus. So he has to get control of the Earth before the powers that are compromised in the galaxy come and do Earth some dirty. I don't know. And they name drop, an extreme sacrifice must be made if we are to succeed. So the extreme sacrifice crossover is looming. And again, I dig, everything's like a 2-panel composition here. It has to be. I like this. It doesn't really seem to actually signify anything, but it's, again, interesting. And then nothing. Completely white background here. That's kind of rare. Everything else looks pretty good. All right, so now we're going to cut to Kirby and the 2 remaining disciples hunting down Prophet here. And they stumble upon their formerly incapacitated co-disciple. And I think he's all frozen up. This appears to be icicles hanging off him. That's a nice touch. And again, all the veins. If you want a reference for how to do imagey veins, I don't think you can do any better, really, than Platt. Dalkion is probably a more realistic source of veins. I don't think it looks quite as interesting, though. And again, like, who lays out a page like this? Vertical, horizontal, kind of a little bit of both. And then this big thing here. And like, what's going on here? They're just wandering around and they stumble across their buddy. Here we go. Buddy wakes up and he's reprogrammed by Prophet. So surprise Kirby. So Just gunshots everywhere. Apparently his back is also exploding because it's also got that carbon emission. Bunch of shells here. Yeah, this is kind of ideal, really. I'm okay with this. This is all right. Interesting headgear here with all the lenses, and also kind of matches up with the 8 scopes on the rifle here. Oh, but he isn't just drawing them in profile anymore, at least not in this particular panel. But that is quite the spread. All right, so they start shooting back. Again, Kirby has equally ridiculous guns. This is one of the remaining disciples that are on Kirby's side. And I think between the two of them, they're able to incapacitate the turncoat disciple somewhere in the middle here. I'm not sure. I think this is it here. And while they're doing that, a couple of empty shell casings fall on Kirby's head, which apparently surprised him. I don't know why. That should just be kind of a constant in this universe. You just get used to, like, you know, that's just how you get tough in the extreme universe, is all the shell casings flying around. It deadens you to that sensation. And I'll actually, I'm going to break kayfabe here a little bit and just let you know, this is a reshoot. Because I tried doing this yesterday when I did the rest of the video, and it started like torrential raining in the middle of it to the point where it was distracting during the video. You could hear it quite clearly. So this is, I think the lighting might even be different. But so I'll cut in, I'll cut out. You probably hear the end of the rainstorm. But it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. We're professionals here. And then, there we go. That's how you do a vertical double page splash, if you have to do one. You never do. But, you know, if you're going to, this is the way you do it. And I like the, again, perspective in quotes with all the trees here pointing into Prophet. It is pretty impressive, particularly after all the double page spreads we've seen that were just unnecessary and weren't particularly impressive. It's nice to see somebody justify a vertical double page spread. I won't say it happens often where it's justified, but, you know, every once in a while, sure, why not? And I get the feeling this was a single piece of comic artboard, like just a single 11 by 17. Because you look at some of the detail here, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot extra, really. You can see all sorts of spots where you could fit in extra detail, theoretically. And it's not quite there. So I think that is... Actually, I think that's two things. One, I mean, it does extend the comic out to 22 pages, you know, which is the standard, of course, without having to actually draw 22 pages. The other thing is both the spread before and the spread after are double page spreads. You can't, if you do a single page spread in between them, there's not much you can do unless you do an ad, I guess. But, yeah, no, you can do it this way and it's totally fine. And, like, how crazy is it that Platt can do a single page that can stand in for a double page spread, and really you don't bat an eye. You know, like I'm like guessing here at what probably happened, but there's no definite. Like, we saw it 3 double page spreads in Prophet number 1. I wouldn't be surprised if all of them were single pages. Not a single one of them justified their position, and none of them had an overabundance of detail. So I think that was, again, just stretching it out to make the issue. And Platt's one of the few guys who can actually pull it off. If that's what happened. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, here we go again. More shells, every which... I mean, like, again, I don't exactly need to narrate what's going on. I think it's probably pretty self-evident. Everything is going on. I'm pretty sure these gunshots are done by just putting a whack of ink down And, you know, like spritzing around the edges of it and then putting a whack of white media down in the center. And it manages not to hit a fucking thing either. Because, I mean, like, Kirby is all that's left that he can be aiming for. And while small, you know, he's still, you know, he's still rather bulbous. He seems to have actually grown quite a bit for this particular shot here. I actually have a theory that the reason the muscles on these guys are so bulbous is so that he can really get that vascularity in there. Like, the veins are the reason for the bulbous muscles. I think that might be the case. Or at least it's, you know, hey, I've got all this room. Look at all the veins I can stick in here. I think it does kind of feed off each other like that. Oh, no, that's right. There is that one other disciple he's trying to hit. And he does fairly easily. Because, again, he's a large thing out there. This is almost a Sam Keith shot. Oh, and Turncoat Disciple is still around, but he gets shocked here and taken out of the action. And Kirby jumps on Prophet's back, which is ambitious. But yeah, if you look here at the detail that's present, it's about equal to what was on that double page spread. So I think that that does kind of confirm things a little bit for me. And they're going to yell at each other here for betraying each other for something. Prophet's yelling about how Kirby betrayed him. Betrayed Prophet. And Kirby's yelling about how he betrayed everything we stood for. I guess what he's doing is referring to the bit in the programming where Prophet killed the pregnant lady. He didn't do it in real life. It's not like he, you know, it didn't actually happen. You know, we have these thoughts, these intrusive thoughts. You got to allow for that, Kirby. And we're going to get some close-up shots here of the action. So, potential drop kick or maybe moon kick. That could be the case. Manages to turn it into a spinning elbow. I like that. I don't know how practical that is. I will try that in my next knockdown dragout. Moon kick into reverse back elbow. That could work. I'm not sure the combo combination for the D-pad on that, but I'll figure it out. And then crack him on the jaw, grabs him by the throat, looks like maybe slams him on the ground. I'm not even sure what's going on in this one. Yeah, looks maybe slams him down. I think he grabs him by the throat back. Yeah, Kirby's holding his own here, despite being like a quarter of the size of the guy. So, you know, good on him, I suppose. Now we get our shattering panel borders. I think this is actually fairly common for Platt, and the kind of thing I should use more often. Again, I mean, it's not exactly a flash of insight to say I should probably steal from Platt more often. We should all steal from Platt more often. Like fucking guys doing manga Kickstarters with cutesy little girl characters or whatever should probably steal from Platt every once in a while and get some insane gunshots and shell casings in there. And they're just going to keep yelling at each other. Prophet's going to keep yelling scripture stuff, essentially. Kirby just keeps yelling extremisms. Like, old Jackson's had quite enough. And I mean, like this is almost looking like parody here. This looks like Stephen Platt's making fun of himself a bit. It does. Some of it does look really nice, like this double lighting here, combined with the veins. And yeah, no, it's really nice stuff. Again, it's the kind of thing I'd like to work towards, but it'd probably be obvious what I was doing. So maybe not. I guess. Right? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. There's aspects you can lift without making it a total Platt ripoff. Anyway, they break apart for a second. Kirby's able to get a hold of his gun, or a gun, but then so is Prophet. In fact, I think he grabs a couple here. And Kirby spins up. Prophet kind of pivots down, and we get a good old Mexican standoff here. Prophet has at least 2 guns, judging by the magazines, pointed at him, while I believe Kirby has at least 1 pointing that way. Potentially 2. It's hard to tell the way Platt draws guns, to be honest. I think that's it. I think they both got double guns pointing at each other, which is a hell of a shot. I mean, regardless, it's a hell of a shot. Let's just leave it there. And they sit here glowering at each other. Again, Prophet with his breath steaming in front of him here. That's good stuff. A lot of detail in that face. That's excellent. And while they're glowering, DOCC makes contact with Prophet, and I believe Kirby as well. And I guess basically what happens is I don't know, I think by making contact, Prophet is able to discern that Kirby doesn't mean him harm? Maybe? And he throws his gun away. Well, both of them. There we go. He did have 2 guns. And they're just all of a sudden, they've made up. It's like, okay, sure. And they kind of wander off the hill. And that's it. And then I think, and this is Crypt, who is mostly a Stephen Platt creation, I believe. And it looks like he teleports in with a bunch of arrows and ninja stars coming in after the teleportation. And, you know, a few of the arrows did find their mark. Just a dozen or so. But that doesn't bother Crypt because he's super badass. And if we do the Extreme Sacrifice crossover eventually, which I think we might, then we'll probably see more of Crypt at that time. Yeah, wide-ass pose. Again, all the... His pants have striations. And we've had... This is like the third... If we're counting the cover, this is the 3rd shot of somebody in front of the moon. Of a gigantic moon. But again, this issue has been mostly 2-page spreads of one kind or another. I got this one here. That one there, which is excellent. That one, of course. There's that other moonshot. This one here is another spread. Very nice. Again, excellent work. Yeah, technically, the way he crosses over here, all good. And one more to grow on. I think that's more than half the book taken up by double-page spreads, and I don't mind it. Again, it's pretty bad storytelling, because, like, you know, where are you supposed to read? Okay, so here, and then I guess here with him jumping out, and then you're up here. Like, it's very easy to lose track of which way you're supposed to read in a Stephen Platt comic. The thing is, I don't think it really matters most of the time. So, it's fine. Alright, so Stephen Platt will be doing all of the covers for the upcoming War Games crossover with Bloodstrike. That's all of 3 issues, I believe, but he does do those covers, and they are fucking wild. A little bit of send in mail, that's alright. And Extreme, the end is now. That's some lame work. They took the regular Extreme logo and then, yeah, just kind of like painted some blood over it. And like the lines here, I don't know, the fact that there's holding lines except where the blood is, it's a problem for me. I believe this is talking about how Extreme had to leave Image. Because Rob was an asshole and wouldn't stop poaching artists. So he's going to be starting up Maximum Press in a few months. So then we got a 2-part crossover between New Men and Team Youngblood. I wonder if that made money. I guess it must have, right? I don't know. And then we've got something called Youngblood Year 1 with Kurt Busiek, which I can't find what that was. I don't know if it actually existed. But we got what I'm pretty sure is, well, obviously we got, what's his name? Not Firestorm, Shaft, Combat, Chapel. I don't believe this is Kirby. I think this is fake Cable, Sentinel, and Battlestone. So, interesting lineup. And a bit more of a composition than Rob would usually attempt. So, give him some props for that, I guess. Ooh, they got some Sega CD promotion. Well done. All right, so that's it for Prophet number 7. So before we end the next one, you might have seen this. This is Prophet number 8. This is from the crossover with Bloodstrike. This is when Bloodstrike is one dude instead of a team. And him and Prophet have the most insane battle that's ever been in a comic, maybe. And I believe this is part of what we said, Extreme Sacrifice. So if we get to that particular crossover at some point, that's when we'll do that. How many arms does this guy have? They actually did this on Cartoonist Kayfabe, where they got out the tracing paper. And like, okay, trace the shapes. Okay, so this is very definitely a shoulder. This is tricep, this is bicep, this is forearm, right? That's all fine. How many backs are there here? Because this is the shoulder. These are all tumorous back muscles. And which one of these is his right arm? Or is this all just a fist with a head sticking out of it? That's possible too, right? And then after that, we got Prophet number 9, which isn't drawn by Stephen Platt, unfortunately. Isn't part of Extreme Sacrifice, isn't part of War Games, so we won't be touching on it again, I don't think. Platt doesn't have much to do with this at all, except for drawing page 1, and then maybe doing, I think he probably does breakdowns after that. But it looks like finishes are done by Pat Lee, as in pencil finishes, and then Marlo Alquiza does the inks on top of that, and quite frankly, the result is not nearly as good as if you just give it all to Marlo Alquiza. So that's unfortunate. But I like this cover. It's a nice look. I guess Prophet and Judas are teaming up at this point. Again, Prophet is gigantic. This back looks fairly solid. It looks like it's trying for real muscles. I love these gigantic legs and the teeny tiny fucking acorn ass he's got attached to them. That's hilarious. But yeah, that's some nice stuff. So yeah, that's going to do it for Prophet for now. Like I said, we'll get back to it again eventually. We'll do the Extreme Sacrifice crossover at some point, and then we can do Prophet 1 through 4 of the next series, and that's it for Stephen Platt on Prophet. He only ever drew 8 issues, as far as I can tell. There's other stuff too. I don't know if we'll ever get to it. I do have a few issues of Soul Saga, so potentially. But yeah, that's some fun insanity. And if you have a chance to pick these up, I think I'd recommend it, because seeing them in person it's worth it. It's its own brand of lunacy. And just to really get an idea of how many lines are on that page is a little mind-blowing. And he's been doing this a little bit, where he interacts with not just the title, which is nice, but also the corner box. I kind of like that. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications. Go over to my Patreon and subscribe there. That'll give you access to all the Blood Force stuff, the pages and comics, as well as these videos before they get uploaded to YouTube, usually a week or so in advance. Also, if you go over to my Instagram, commissions there are now open. Again, I won't do this cover exactly, but I think I should copy this pose at some point. You got to do the Conan pose for something. It should be Popo. Right? Just, Popo standing there with a sword, which he will never use in actual in the comic itself. Just for looking cool on the cover, on the alternate cover or the pinup or whatever it turns out to be, something like that. That will happen one day, but not yet. Not yet. All right, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. I'm pretty sure these gunshots are done by just putting a whack of ink down. And, you know, like spritzing around the edges of it and then putting a whack of white media down in the center. Which is an interesting idea. I don't know if you can hear the rain going on right now. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. I apologize. I guess when in the programming, he killed the pregnant lady. He didn't do it in real life. Jesus.